puberty blockers do have real risks. Julia, can you outline what some of them are?
Sure. Puberty blockers are medicines that shut down the production of all the sex steroids. So estrogen, progestin, testosterone, all of them. And the sex steroids are important in adolescent development. This will start as young as age 8 or 9 in girls and 9 or 10 in boys. The use of puberty blockers has been associated with significant bone density problems, even in kids who were administered puberty blockers for the treatment of precocious puberty. And I want to mention that precocious puberty is treated with puberty blockers. For example, a girl at age 5 or 6 might get a Lupron implant. But if a girl seems to be starting puberty at age 7, the current recommendation is not to use puberty blockers because the side effects are too significant.
Wow.
But there have been case reports of bone problems.
Bone density. Okay, so you can wind up with. I was reading in your back talk with interview with our producer, report of spinal fractures, subsequent chronic pain in a young patient given puberty blockers in Sweden. I mean, these are things that are just not that well known. And there's a question about whether they can inhibit brain development and also potentially affect sexual attraction. Is that true, Julia?
Yeah. So the development of desire is mediated by the sex steroid hormones. And if you've blocked them, then you've also blocked that development in the child. And this is significant because over the past 40 years, as you've already said, the majority of gender dysphoric small children were male. And a lot of them had their gender dysphoria dissipate with the onset of puberty as they slowly came to realize that they were gay. This wasn't 100%, but this was the most common outcome. And if you block the puberty, you block that development.
Wow. And so you just leave them sort of confused and not understanding why they're confused, but just chalking it up to the gender dysphoria. Whereas if they had just been allowed to go through normal puberty, they would have realized, oh, I do have an attraction. It's, more than likely to guys. I'm just gay. Yeah. I'm not trans.
Yeah. And there have been multiple case reports of a loss of IQ points and, kids being held back a grade because they had such sort of brain fog brought on by the puberty blockers.
Wow.
If you give them to a girl who's already started her periods, you're going to put her into an immediate sort of violent menopause. It's a lot worse than when you undergo menopause naturally through your, 50s. It's all at once. And I've heard from young people who had to get the puberty blocker removed after 6 months because they just couldn't think. They were having constant hot flashes, which sounds bad.
Yeah, it sounds bad at our age, never mind at a young age.
It's not good.
What about the question of orgasm? I've seen people raise an issue about whether puberty blockers somehow will inhibit a child's later ability to achieve orgasm.
Right. Just like sex hormones are responsible for the development of sexual desire and thus allow children to sort of figure out if they're straight or gay, sex hormones also lead to the development of masturbation and the discovery of orgasm. And we have Marcy Bowers saying to other doctors in a conference that of all her patients, natal males who were blocked at the very beginning of puberty before they had had an orgasm, none of them have achieved orgasm.
Wow. That she was featured in Matt Walsh's documentary, What is a Woman? Dr. Marcy Bowers, if memory serves. I mean, what's disturbing to me is that these risks just don't get disclosed. It's so easy. If you want to get puberty blockers in today's day and age, it's certainly in the blue states. I mean, the red states are trying to crack down on this a bit more. They'll just give them to you. Like, they'll just say, great. It's like gives you a little postponement of having to make this decision. And I don't think a lot of parents understand these risks. Lower IQ, possibly no more orgasms for your young child in his or her life. And just a lot of confusion and risks that you didn't know you were taking. Bone density, and that's really important to stay well for the rest of your life. Erica, how do you see it? Because obviously you have a personal connection to this issue in a way. And I know that I know it's not considered correct to say you were born a biological male. So I'm not trying to offend you. I'm just trying to keep things straight. You were born and labeled a male at birth, and you transitioned to female. So how do you see it? Because the issue with children is particularly dicey.
Right. Well, thanks for having me. And these are complicated subjects, as we can all agree. I have a fairly nuanced perspective about this, and sometimes I'm accused and found guilty of being in the middle on some of these issues. The
worst thing you can possibly be on anything today.
Yeah, exactly. So I see the problems, but I also, as you point out earlier, Megyn, there are transgender people, and there always have been. And so my sincere obligation is to help all transgender people. But as we're agreeing, the picture is so complicated now by possibly the promotion of trans identities in various ways, social media, in circles of young people. And I've been speaking about it for several years. And during the pandemic, a number of things happened. It was kind of like a perfect storm with kids deprived of being with each other at school. They ended up at home doing Zoom school and have found themselves online in larger and larger numbers per day than ever before. And the consumption of all this social media that is speaking to them, I think, has really been unhealthy. So I've been writing and speaking about the potential that we may have a new group of particularly teenagers who don't fit the model that we've seen in the outcomes research that's been published in the journals and is based in Europe, particularly the Netherlands and Sweden, and even the United States. And so if we have a new group of adolescents who didn't exhibit any gender questioning when they were young, unlike the more traditional group that we've seen in gender clinics, what do we know? And I think that's the problem, is there are a lot of questions. So I've been urging caution. The standard of practice actually is urging individualized evaluation of every child rather than expedited treatment with hormones. And I've been a bit of a contrarian, because there certainly are a lot of people in my work and in the trans community who just think everybody who says they're trans is trans, and you should take them at their word. And that just flies in the face of everything I know as 40 years as psychologist about self-report, which is really not reliable, and about the challenges of kids who are exploring their identity in all ways that we know.
As everyone starts to go back to school over the next few weeks, do some good by helping feed children who are facing hunger and food insecurity. Our partner, Good Ranchers, is on a mission to donate 100,000 high-quality meals to young children who often go unfed or who are malnourished from poor access to nutritious food. You can join this campaign by ordering a box of 100% American meat. Every order contributes meals to this cause and makes a huge difference in the lives of these children. Good Ranchers is an award-winning food delivery service that brings 100% American meat and seafood right to your door. They source the best of American farms so that you can get the highest quality food possible and trust what you're feeding to your family every time. Go to goodranchers.com/Megyn to join the movement today. You will get $30 off your order, you'll get free shipping, and you'll donate food to children in need. Giving back never felt or tasted so good. Let's help them hit and ideally pass that goal of 100,000 meals donated. Go to goodranchers.com/Megyn or just use my code MEGYN when you're checking out. Change the future one meal at a time with Good Ranchers. goodranchers.com/Megyn. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.